This comes from Ryan Delaney. Or Denley. Ryan Denley, that's better.
What's up,
Beyond.
Ryan?
Beyond.
Greg Collin in the ever-rotating third chair. If you were tasked with creating a brand new IP and were given the keys to one of Sony's first-party studios, A, which studio would you pick? B, what kind of game would you make?
Ooh.
In this scenario, there are no executives to answer to, and you don't have to be concerned with how well it will sell. You can make whatever you want. Thanks to Beyond, Ryan Denley.
Okay, I've got an answer to this one.
Go.
Already. For purely selfish reasons, I'm going to pick Studio Japan because I love Japan and would love to live there again. Also, they've made The Puppeteer, which I love and think is beautiful.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't be the best suited for this project, except on the visual side, but who cares? They're going to make a Toontown game for me. I want an open-world Grand Theft Auto-style game based on Toontown from Roger Rabbit. I want it to be inhabited with Warner Brothers and Disney characters, other cartoon animated stuff. Since money's no object and this is a fantasy universe, you're going to be able to throw portable holes up against walls and investigate the insides of buildings, do some Eddie Valiant stuff all over the place.
Sure.
Because, I want Toontown, the open world game.
Okay.
And a beautiful cartoon art style, goofy, because I love open world games, but unfortunately, because of what's safe and what sells, we generally go with what's familiar. Well, here's a realistic city. Well, here's a Skyrim-ish universe. Well, here's a post-apocalyptic wasteland. And beyond those three things, beyond, we don't break out of that very often. It's risky to build a whole new world and spend all that money and then wonder if people are actually going to wander around in it. So studios stick with what's safe. But I want to go someplace fantastic. I want to go someplace I haven't been before. That's why I look forward to No Man's Sky. But that's a whole other discussion.
Nice.
First of all, I'm already intrigued by the fact that Guerrilla is apparently working on an open world RPG.
Yes.
With that said, which is totally weird and awesome. With that said, I have to go towards where the most talent is concentrated in studio in the first party studios. It's Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
And think about what they did with The Last of Us, which was basically a zombie post-apocalyptic game. So not an uncommon thing. And they made it into something special and unique. It's Game of the Year. It's arguably the best game in Generations, one of the best games of all time. I would like to see them do a military shooter, first-person shooter. And I want to see what they do with it. Like, so do a Call of Duty. And like, what could they do to that game? So, from a first-person perspective, they don't make first-person games. Yeah. And what kind of story do you have? What kind of character development do you have? What kind of story can you tell and plot can you tell?
Oh,
it would be amazing.
Send a kid through TET in '68. That'd be nuts. So the story you could tell there. I think about this. My dad was a Vietnam veteran. I think about the stories I finally managed to drag out of him after years and years of knowing him. You could tell an amazing story with good writing in it.
He was at TET?
Shooter. Huh?
He was at TET?
My dad arrived at, you know what, that's a long story. Yeah. He was there in 68, 69.
Wow,
yeah.
That's a bad time to be there.
Yeah.
So that's what I would want to see, is just a studio that talented with storytelling.
Sure.
Take one of the great tropes of the industry, which is a military shooter, and just deliver, because I know they would.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand on that.
I flirted with Naughty Dog, but I came down on Sucker Punch, and I'd like to see them do a Superman game with heavy involvement, obviously, from DC. Sucker Punch gets making a superhero game, an open-world superhero game. I'd like to see them work alongside Bruce Timm, tell a Superman story, something along those lines.
Great.
Get Jeff Johns in there. Bruce Timm, Jeff Johns working on it.
Greg, would you be in favor of like a Golden Age Superman story where he's less powerful, has that?
See, this is what I always go back to, the fact that I think you can do a Superman game. Like, the problem is I always talk about this, right? That as much as I love Christopher Reeve movies, the Superman series, it broke everyone's understanding of Superman.
Because
suddenly he became a god.
Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
Superman.
Yeah.
Superman. The animated series version of
That's
Superman.
Superman 2, actually.
Whenever you mention it, Scarpino yells it out.
Yeah.
I thought the animated series version of Superman walked a nice line, right? Of he could be worn down with traditional weapons.
Sure.
Theoretically, he could get really screwed up by that stuff. You know what I mean? But he moves fast enough, he gets around.
Well, he's post-crisis Superman.
Yeah, exactly,
totally.
exactly.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. And I think that's the problem you get hung up on. And I have, of course, written the Superman story for the game in my head.
Okay,
I have two different games I've put together.
Without contradicting you, my question actually wasn't aimed at the power level problem in total,
Sure.
just that setting. Do you care about that at all?
No,
Okay,
I don't.
I
would say
right.
not to, because it's already one of those things where if we, like Batman, right?
Yeah.
Batman's been so successful now that I was really hoping that Rocksteady's next Batman game, when we didn't know what they were doing, was going to be Batman Beyond.
Okay.
Because I thought they had set the stage enough where they're like, they can do that now. You know what I mean? But we need to get a couple good Superman games under our belt that make sense with the character people currently know before we start branching out and telling the Silver
other
Age,
stories.
Golden Age, something like that.
Yeah. I love Golden Age Superman. He's almost like this evil god. He doesn't really understand
jumping
people
over
a lot
buildings,
of the time.
beating the hell out of wife beaters.
and like the plots of the stories are something like Lois and Lana, which of you love me more?
Yeah.
It's just like, what?
What?
Yeah.